plan on taking breaks, whether that's during the workday, whether it's take a vacation, find some way to relax and step away from the screen.
Yeah, I give the same advice. I think that's good. All right, Terry, give me some bad advice on dealing with burnout for yourself and the team.
You should give 110% every single day.
110%. Yes. All right, Jonathan, I think this is an easy one. This is a layup. Give me some worse advice on dealing with
You
burnout
should
for yourself.
do a culture and engagement survey where you take inventory of kind of what needs of the team, where your needs of the company are, and where you score low, implement some measures to try to drive those scores lower.
That's a good one. Let's start.
Get ready. It's Super Cyber Friday.
Welcome, everybody, to Super Cyber Friday. Today's topic is hacking burnout. This is going to be a great topic. This is not anything we enjoy going through, but talking about it actually will be quite entertaining. An hour of critical thinking about how security teams get overwhelmed and how to manage it. All right. These, just so you know, these are their actual titles right now. My guests are Jonathan Waldrop, CISO at Large, and Terry O'Daniel, CISO at Larger. Terry always has to be just one better. Just one better. All right. Lots of ways you can participate. Participate in the chat room. Our bad idea will be worst way to prevent burnout. So we want your advice on the worst way to prevent burnout. Also submit how to prevent burnout. So 10% better tip. You can join us on camera. Bring me on. Ask a question for our guest. Please send in questions. Send in lots and lots of questions and vote for your favorite question as well. All right. Well, we're switching up a little bit today. So good advice, bad advice, worst advice. We got the bad idea. We got the 10% better tip. I just mentioned those. We're going to play the public interest, and I have a new game for you. Will the real hack stand up? Can you identify which hack was real and which ones are the fakes? You just need to identify the real one. Then we'll have our last questions and answer, and then the meetup, which will happen right here on Airmeet. For those of you joining us for the first time or joining us for the first time on this platform, that's where we do the meetup. It's right here, our post-show meetup. It's a lot of fun right here. And also, next week, we are doing hacking tabletop exercises. And I want to put this, I'm going to throw a pop-up right here. How do I throw this? Oh, show on stage. Here we go. So don't click the right X. Don't do that. I know you want to do that. Go to the lower left where it says register. Click on that. It will register, and you won't be taken out of this discussion here. I'll even click on it myself. Now, look. I can go to another page. I can register for the event and still be here. So click the lower left, not the upper right, the lower left, and register for next week's event. All right. And then that's it. Oh, yeah, and stick around for a meetup, which will be at the end of the show. All right. Let me go back to where I was so I can close this out. Present on stage. How do I get it off the stage? Oh, you got it off the stage. Thank you for doing that for me. All right. Let's go to the very, very classic question. So, Let's just go to classic burnout scenarios. And this is not specific to cybersecurity. Just, Jonathan, classic burnout scenarios. How does this happen? It's just too much work. That's going to be the most classic. Yes.
I think about it in terms of economics, where you have a supply-demand curve, if you're familiar. So you got supply on one axis and demand on the other, and where demand is outstripping the supply, where your time, your cycles, maybe even your skills and abilities. Mm-hmm. Where that demand is too high for a long period of time, you don't have any resources to help, you don't have any way to bring that down. That's where burnout happens. And I think it's important to start with how do we get there, not how do we avoid it or how do we identify it, but how do we stop it from the beginning? How do we know what it is?
Get it at the source.
Yeah.
Get it at the source. Terry, just again, classic cases of burnout. Where do we see it?
I think the capacity versus capability is a great way to think of it. I also think burnout is not purely a capacity problem. It's also an intensity problem. I think there are certain areas where we run at too high of a level, frankly, chemically, of adrenaline. We let too much cortisol flood our system, and we just don't know a way to find normal. And normal over time creeps up and up and up and up, and we don't realize that we're the frog in the boiling pot of water.
Good point. And I mean, and this is also the job. Both of you are CISOs, have worked CISOs at large companies. Maybe you can kind of tell me, like, what are some classic scenarios, just scenarios you've seen within your own teams in the past, Jonathan?
I think anytime you get a level of frustration that builds up, like when the team starts feeling like they're working hard, they're putting in time and hours and working on projects, but they're not seeing some successes, whether they feel
Yeah,
like they're going fighting the business, if you will, or fighting IT
that's a
to
good point.
for a security initiative. Anytime I think where you don't see the fruit of your labors, or fruits of your labor, I think that's where you think, what am I doing here? Why am I killing myself? Why am I struggling so much to try to do this when nobody else cares?
And by the way, I've mentioned this to my wife, who does not work in cybersecurity. As a manager, you want your employees coming to you when they're frustrated. Yes,
Absolutely.
Terry. Yeah,
Absolutely.
like
I
everyone
mean,
thinks, oh no, I don't want to bother him. I don't want to be a nuisance. I don't want to do this. But like, no, you want this. Yes, Terry.
I saw a great diagram, which is it shows basically us as a human battery, and it shows um, recognize burnout and go to your manager or take a break when you're half full, not when you're down to the 1%. And I think that's a great analogy for it. It's hard sometimes to have that internal feedback loop or an external feedback loop with your team or your manager, building a safe space where you can say, hey, today I'm not a robot. And none of us are yet. And your best looks different every day. You should show up and do your best in life and at work and everything, but your best looks different every day. And having a
Yes.
safe space in which you can share with your coworkers, your manager, your skip level, I'm coming into 80% today, and you need to be able to say that safely, and you need to have a safety net in that environment where you understand that that's not going to get you fired. That's not going to get a black mark on your record.
Right. Okay. So how do you, as a manager, that's a really good point. So how do you, as a manager, communicate to your staff, hey, I want you coming to me when something is overloaded, or just say, hey, lot going in my life today. I'm working at 50% today. Like that doesn't result in you giving them a demerit or whatever the heck it is. Like, how do you communicate that to them, Jonathan?
Yeah, I think you have to start with doing it yourself. You have to
Okay.
talk to your team about when you feel like you're starting to hit that red line. I've done it before where I've sat down and you have an intro conversation and onboarding and say, hey, here's your time off, and here's how talk about, or here's how you request it, or whatever. And for me, it's like, you need a day off. Great, go take the day off. I'm not going to approve your time off or whatever. It's your time off to use. And I think that's part of that conversation of, I'm going to give you the resources you need, whether that's time away, whether that's a skill build, whatever the case is, whatever that individual needs, because everybody has something they need differently. People are motivated in different ways. Some people are motivated by money, financial rewards, some by time off, some by recognition, by coming up in front of a crowd and getting a certificate or something, right? And so being able to lean into that, but talk about that yourself and lead by that example. I think that is the number one way you can help your teams avoid burnout, is by you demonstrating yourself avoiding burnout.
Very good tip, Terry. I'd like your tip on this one too as well.
I think one of the challenges in the jobs we work in, where we are not paid by the hour, is that it's very easy to slip out of the mode of, frankly, being a little transactional about what you get from work. You're giving up your time in exchange for money. And when we don't clock in and clock out, when we don't have this transactional nature of my time is worth this much per hour, it leads to an environment where I'm sure some of us have worked in a place where there's unlimited PTO, which means
Can I connect my wife works in one of those? It drives me crazy. Crazy.
it's such a lie, right? It just exacerbates the problem of we're a family where you just give and give and give, and there is no transactional
People,
nature. But we're
by
not
the
a
way,
family.
we all know traditionally that first of all, the whole design of that is so they don't have to pay you your unused vacation when you leave. It's a
Mhm.
major money saving. And on average, people do not take enough vacation time. It's, trust me, when they say that, it's not like people take 9 to 10 weeks of vacation. They don't.
Yeah,
They simply don't.
absolutely.
They
Well,
take
and I'll say
actually under what they should do.
always. And
Always.
there's such an internal, the baseline changes, right? The baseline does not become, hey, when are you going to take your 2 weeks or 4 weeks or 8 weeks? If we lived in Europe this year, the baseline becomes, oh, you're taking time off. Why? And there becomes this sense of you have to justify it in some way. So, but coming back to your question, I think as a manager, I love what Jonathan said, model the behavior you
Yeah.
want your team to follow, but also be a little more transactional about it. If someone works late, call it out in a team meeting and say, hey, Jonathan was up super late working on this incident. Thank you so much. We all appreciate you. Please make sure that you don't show up on Friday. I don't want to see you on Friday. You put in that time. And frankly, that time after hours is not a one-to-one map. So if you took 4 hours at night, that's worth 8 hours of your scheduled daytime. So I want you to take
that's a
the
good
day
point.
off.
Let me also say, I remember being at an event on a panel discussion, and a CISO who would work extra hours, bring his computer and work on vacation, and he told his staff, "Don't do." And he was the CISO, and he says, "Do not do as I do." And I called 1,000% BS on that, and I go, they want to be a CISO. They look at you. This is what you do. I know you can. If you don't want to avoid, and it was about burnout. I'm like, no. If you want to avoid that, you have to model the behavior. You can't do that.
And this is probably going against what we're talking about here, but to help project an image on your team, which maybe leads to your own burnout, I don't know, but like the scheduled emails where I got it, things. So for me personally, my work day, if I'm working from home, it spans a whole lot longer than if I'm in the office, right? Because if I leave the office, cool, my brain can shut that part off. When I'm at home, I might, hey, I gotta put some dishes away, or I gotta do some laundry, or I gotta go pick up my kid from school, or whatever else happens, right? So the day tends to get longer, and you might work into the evening hours, and that's okay. It's about what works well for you. But for me, seeing an email at 10 o'clock at night, it's like, oh, what's the emergency? Like, why are we getting email at 10 o'clock at night? No, you can schedule that email, or just put it in a draft folder and send it in the morning, or those Slack messages can be scheduled send as well. That alone can reduce stress on your team from seeing a message from the boss at 2 o'clock in the morning when you couldn't sleep last night.
Absolutely.
But I will say one of the things that I do, and I couch it, I tell my employees, like, hey, you may receive something late at night, ignore it. Like, just because I'm saying, unless something's truly urgent, I'll let you know it is. But if you see something in an odd hour, you can surely ignore it till next Monday.
I have seen that in a signature block where the person said, "I am sending this at a convenient time for me. Please respond at a convenient time for you."
Absolutely.
And that works.
And that's one of the things I do in my onboarding for people. I explain that we are a remote first workforce when that was the case during COVID, especially. And I will tell people it is not only your right, but your responsibility to manage your intake. You need to set up your do not disturb times. You need automatedly to, if you don't want to receive Slack messages after 9 p.m., they're going to come in. I need you to make sure that you set it up so that they don't buzz all night and wake you up.
I'm a contractor unless you want to pay me at overtime at 2 a.m. here.
See, there you go.
I will not be available. Well, contractor is a different story than a full-time employee, I must say. All right. So what are situations that are very unique to cybersecurity? What are burnout that is we're talking very generally here, but let's say what is unique to cyber? We can jump to incidents right now. Like, incidents are kind of like, it's kind of inevitable you're going to get burnout. But one tip I did hear, actually at Black Hat just recently, where I ran into Terry, is when you have an incident, immediately send somebody home. Now, because if you have everyone work in the midnight hour and then everyone's burnt out at the same time, you don't have anyone left. Like, you're done. You don't have left. But I would just say, and this was my joke, I'm like, it sounds like a good idea, but if you're the one person being sent home, how well are you sleeping? Not good.
Probably not great, but it does set the message that
yes,
heroics are the exception, not the rule. And I think that's a key part of it, because there is a unique combination in cybersecurity of stakes plus speed. And I think that creates a real, between the rock and the hard place, where we have to get it right, but you have to get it right now as well. And I think that adds to it. And then layering on top of that, it's not just that incidents are terrible, it's that they are public failures. Yeah. And they're perceived that way. And, be it fair or not, even those of us who've been in the CISO role and been through some terrible incidents, maybe we look with a little side eye at, oh, this company got hacked in that stupid way. That's kind of silly. Why didn't they just XYZ? Well, right. I think we know the answer, because our job ultimately is to put together a case, go to the business and say, we should do this. And it's not up to us to make that decision.
I
Go
want to
ahead.
call out James's comment in the chat there that said hard to be the first one sent home, and your first thought is, am I useless? I say absolutely not, because what you're saying is you're going to be the lead on the next shift, right? And so we've got a team of players right now that's going to handle it. We need somebody smart to keep the candle going when we come back on this. So I wouldn't think about it that way. Obviously, your mileage may vary, and I don't want to tell you what your feelings are either, but my first reaction is no, that person is going to be the shift lead, if you will, on that next round when everybody needs sleep.
We got some good questions coming in from Justin Murhoff. And we talked about this, but I want to sort of lean onto one thing in Justin's question. It says, how important is open communications with your team so you and the team avoid burnout? What we're discussing. But what ways have you built the team communication? So, I mentioned that it's important for you to communicate to the team, but how does the team intercommunicate so they're not on each? Because team members can get on each other's case to make their lives miserable. Like, what's sort of, how do you improve that? And also, a lot of the stuff you may not even see.
Yeah, I'll give you an example of a team I've been in before, and during COVID, I think Terry, you mentioned it earlier, but everybody's working from home, everybody's working lots of hours, and there was one day where I realized I hadn't seen the sun in like 4 days or something like that, and it's like I need to go outside. So I told my team, hey, I haven't been outside in a while. I'm gonna go take a walk. If you need me, I'll have my phone, but please try not to bother me for like an hour. And just that alone was like, the team can do that too. Like I'm asking you, if you need to go for a walk at 10 o'clock, block your calendar. Great. If there's a class at the gym you want to go to at 9:30 in the morning, okay.
Yeah.
There's a chance that some meeting pops up. Maybe not. We'll work through it, right? So if you can share that mentality with your team, again, I think this is a great case of lead by example here.
Yeah.
I have another thought there. One thing I learned during COVID is we sometimes in a remote environment, we miss the human interaction of rubbing elbows and working together. And sometimes you can't get over that, right? You don't want to bring people into the office, or you can't because of something like COVID. So I developed this habit with my team, which is work in public. And we have a shared channel that is a bit noisy, but it's more or less where people just go and babble and say, hey, I'm working on this right now. Here's the approach I'm taking. And it builds kind of a sense of community. Sometimes people read it, sometimes they don't. The point is you can always lean in and you can share what's going on. It creates a safe space where someone else can, just as if you were in the office, say, hey, have you tried this? Or have you looked at this resource? And it just creates, it buoys the spirits. It gives you this sense of, I'm not doing this alone. I don't have this, I'm not doing work for my manager. And there's just sort of this pipeline up and down. I'm actually working as part of a team.
By the way, I am putting in right now in the chat, we did an episode with Tim Brown, the CISO of SolarWinds, who I ran into also at Black Cat. This is a great episode of Defense and Up because, by the way, he has the trump card. When anyone said, I had a rough day today, you ain't going to beat Tim Brown. No one's beating Tim Brown. Just a little stat for you, if you don't know. Tim Brown, because of stress, but first of all, he moved into like an apartment across the street from his office. For the first 30 days, he lost 30 pounds. He was eating normally, but just from stress, he lost 30
That is not the get healthy plan.
No, that is not. I don't recommend that workout. But holy moly, that was overwhelming.
I can't beat that, but I put on a little weight during COVID. And I remember the next few years in my CISO roles, I met up with some friends who I hadn't seen for years, thanks to COVID and the lack of, conferences and such. And I lost a little weight, and they asked, hey, what's up? Are you working out? And I said, no, this is the CISO diet. It's just, I'm not doing anything purposely. It's just probably forgetting to eat and all the stress.
All right. So here's a bad idea from James Smerenberg. Allow everyone on the team to assign work to others. Oh, then when someone doesn't get one of the items from the, Bill's list done because Sally had them do it, X, yell at them. All right. That's a great idea. That's great. Hey, I completely forgot. We have another game that we need to play right now.
Do you know what others are thinking? On the public interest.
All right, here we go. 4 questions. Audience, play along. You know how this game is played. All right. Just tell me which are the most popular right here. Here we go. Question number 1. What gets more monthly search queries? Is it exhaustion or fatigue? Which gets more?
Exhaustion.
What do you think?
Exhaustion.
Both exhaustion. I have not seen this. Rich produces. I'm going to go with exhaustion as well. Let's see what the correct answer is. It is. Ooh, we're wrong. Fatigue went out. All right, so none of us are going to go 4 for 4 here.
Nope.
We all screwed up. But there's some B's here. I see. So they have a kind of Sheese and TJ have an opportunity to go 4 for 4 here. Here we go. Next one is creep, overwhelm, or pressure. I'm going E, pressure.
I'm gonna say D, overwhelm.
There is, by the way, I'm throwing this. There is the Radiohead album named Creep, but it was a long time ago.
That's actually that's the song I sang at CISO karaoke at Black Hat. So I guess I'll have to choose Creep.
But are you choosing Creep? See?
I mean, no. If you want my real answer, I think it's
go
pressure.
take any answer you want. What do you want?
Let's do E, pressure.
Well, you're going to E, but you're going overwhelmed, Jonathan, right?
I said D. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. What do we got? Oh, you should have gone Creep.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
But
Well,
overwhelmed,
tied,
tied.
okay.
All right. So Jonathan is on the board with 1. You and I, Terry, you should have gone with your karaoke song.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Next one. Alert, false positives, or noise. Ooh, this is a good one. I'm going F.
I'm gonna go H,
G.
noise. All right.
G. You're gonna okay. We're all picking one. Somebody's gonna come out on top here. Alert wins. All right.
Oh,
Nice. Me, Jonathan. Last one. Last one could determine the winner right here. All right. Manual, repetitive, sprawl, switching.
I'm gonna go switching.
J. Repetitive.
Repetitive. You're going to. I'm going manual. Okay. So,
I think it's because Nintendo just released the Switch 2, and this is a typo.
Could be. Unless it's sprawl, we're going to have a winner here. Oh, no. So you said repetitive, right, Terry? Because Terry's not even on the board yet.
I'm not.
So we could have a 3-way tie or a winner. Let's see what we have here. It is switching. Jonathan takes
I did it.
SEO.
Good job. Good job.
Metagaming. I see how it is.
There you go.
Well, I just want to point out, I can't take this off for some reason. Please take that off. There you go. Good job. Now I want to know the chat room. How did you do? What was the best score the chat room had? Interested to know. Okay. Let's hold it. This is also a good one. We didn't bring this up, and this is definitely important. This comes up. Usually some employees can get burned out, not through company's work, but also on personal lives. As a team leader, what are some ways to copy or cope their burnouts while at the same time respecting boundaries? So, yeah, you don't want to say, tell me what's going on. But if, like, I'm assuming to the level of saying, I've got stuff going on at home, could you, and they don't have to tell you the specifics, but I need space. Like, have you had those conversations, Jonathan?
Yeah, for sure. And to me, that's where my response is, thank you for trusting me with what you're telling me. I care about you. I want to know as much as you want to tell me. I'm not here to pry, but I'm here to support and help you. Typically your HR department will have some employee resource programs to be able to offer. A lot of them you can go and make appointments without having to set anything up. Like, you get free support right away. I've definitely used that in the past. And I think it's people that want to feel cared about, and that they want you to know that, hey, I'm not my best. And I'm trying to get there, but I need some help to do that. And then it's on you as the leader to follow through with that and help them figure out what they need for that.
I will tell you, I did something like this. This goes back decades ago. But I was previously married, and my wife walked out on me, and I literally walked into my 2 managers and I said, this just happened today. I do not know what's going to happen, but I'm just giving you a heads up. My wife walked out on me today, and one of them had a similar experience. So he very much commiserated, and they said, thanks for telling us, and whatever space you need, you got it. So Luckily, nothing happened, but I was just more of this is just a warning. I don't know what's going to go on. I really don't
By
know.
the way, yeah. Well, I think those are both great examples of triage, right? What do you do when something horrible happens? How do you respond to it? How do you create a safe space for, or take advantage of a safe space and a good relationship?
Yeah.
Going back to the persistent, I think one of the best things we can do is one-on-ones are a unique tool to talk about the other human and to learn about them, what motivates them, things like
Good point.
that.
Yep.
Usually when we
Great.
go into one-on-ones, frankly, the person who is not the boss comes in with a little bit of nerves. They come in probably with a list of things they want to talk about their successes, or maybe questions, things they're blocked, things like that. And it's hard in a fast-moving environment, but making one-on-ones about the other person rather than about the progress of a project or things like that. You can schedule a project status meeting. You can get updates via email. One-on-ones are a unique opportunity to build that trust and to create that safe space. So lean into those. Make sure that if you go into one-on-one and your boss is just hammering you for stats, just ask, is this more of a project status meeting, or is this more about one-on-one? And then if you are in the position to create that, I think it behooves you to be the one to say, look, you can send me your product status or your project status. I want to hear it. That's important. But more importantly, let's talk about you. How's it going? How's it feeling? What's your level of stress? Things like that. And also you can lead that conversation. You can model that conversation by saying, as David did, here's what's going on in my life. Or, I didn't really get enough sleep last night. I'm running a little slow today. I'm having a bit. You don't have to get into the deep details, but you can create the environment in which you say, I'm having some challenges with my kids, and it's frankly, it's kind of nagging at the back of my head. So it's a little hard to focus today. If you set that up, I bet they'll reach you.
Well, what ultimately my attitude is, I'm okay with everything. Just make sure whatever you can't do is assigned to somebody else. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It's one of the things, like, if you can't do it, that's fine. Just let me or someone else know, because I don't want you to not do it, not tell someone you didn't do it, and then it falls through the crack, and then we're screwed. Like, just
still have
I
to
can't do
communicate
this.
through that.
I can't, or if you really can't take the time to assign it, just say, I have these 3 things. I don't have time to assign. I go, don't worry about it. I got it, kind of a thing. Like,
Mhm.
the ideal situation is they assign it to someone themselves, but if not, the manager can manage that too.
And I think too, some people might find that added pressure to go
Yeah.
assign it to somebody else, right? And that may be even more overwhelming in an already stressful situation.
Right.
Because I've worked with a lot of people who I grew up professionally in the military, and to have somebody go give somebody else orders, like, you don't just do that, right?
Right. And
And
especially if you were an underling trying to give
yeah,
an assignment to someone above you. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. But I think that's where you as the leader can say, hey, tell me what you got right now. I will handle that. You go take care of yourself. You let me know when you're ready
Right.
to come back to work.
Yeah, but that's the other thing, is that the one thing that, like, we can't guess what's on your plate. You know what I mean? Like, we
Sure.
have to kind of, at bare
Well,
minimum,
as
you need
if
to
you're
know.
if you're managing your team well, you should know what your team's working on.
Generally, yes, but there may be some very specifics that you just don't know. But that's
I
also
think
the great thing about a project management tool. If
Yeah.
you're using that, then everyone's aware about what everyone's doing. And if someone sort of, just disappears, someone can pick it up where it's left off. I mean, that's ultimately, if you're that well an oiled machine, you never even have to have that conversation. Just go, I know what I see the project management tool. I know it's on your plate. We'll just take it from here, kind of a thing.
Well, I think humans have much more intuition than we give ourselves credit for. And I think when we work in a remote environment, we don't pick up those signs, right? When you see your person sitting at the desk next to you, sweating and being stressed and drinking too much coffee, you get a little signal, and you can incorporate that into, how do I react to that? It's very easy to fall into quiet desperation, where we're all slaving away at our own project. We assume that everyone else is doing great, and we're the weakest link.
Oh, yeah. That is definitely a
Yeah.
feeling. Talking about Toastmaster or improv sessions, that actually also works great. Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Highly recommend
It's a
that
good
as
idea.
well. Where are we? We have lots more questions. Okay. So let me go. I have some more questions I want to go lean on. Here we go. Oh, this I should have asked a while ago, but from James Sparenberg. Do you agree or disagree with statement? and I think we're in agreement here, burnout is often designed into the system. We've worked with systems that are either poorly designed, so everyone's doing extra work, and or management sort of treats, well, we've seen like Elon Musk, he kind of made it very public how he operates. Like, are you going to be hardcore is the way he does. Does anyone like to work for someone who's, quote, hardcore?
I think there's an inherent challenge in cybersecurity. Most of us haven't come up through the product development world. And myself, I wasn't a software engineer. I was an infrastructure and production engineer. But though in those worlds, you have structure. You have scrums and sprints, and there's much more of a calendar-based mode of work. You have defined work, and you have a defined amount of time to accomplish that work. Cyber has a very challenging capacity problem in which you're supposed to have a roadmap and you're supposed to deliver on those deliverables, but also at any moment the fire drill could go off and you might have to all rush and take care of an incident. So I think it's uniquely bad in our situation because you're both trying to have a proactive model of work. We lack some of that structure. And it doesn't have to be as formal as scrums. You could use Kanban or something like that gives you at least a way to measure what is my possible throughput, what is my capacity, and then you can start thinking about it rather than just this pressure-based mode of you just need to work a little harder. You can have it's just math. This is the amount of resources we have at our utmost capacity. If we hit more than that, we're going to have to figure out the prioritization.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing we're collectively bad at is deciding or trying to predict how much time a task or a project is going to take. Because how often do you say, "Oh, if I could do that in 2 weeks"? No, you can't. You can't. It's not going to happen in 2 weeks. It's going to take at least 7. But I think that's because maybe it's the focus of, hey, if I just did this for 2 weeks, but that's implausible. Nobody can. Few people.
And the thing is,
away
sometimes you have to
explicitly from
manage. You have to manage clients. You have to manage upper management. You have
Yes.
to explain the thing you're asking for actually does not happen in that kind of time, and you kind of
Yeah.
explain it.
And I think going back to the one-on-ones real quick, I think that's where you manage that workload. Each team member, depending on their level of seniority, 1 to 3 projects that they're touching at any point, and one of those projects might be the incident ticket queue, right? You've got to balance that and be really, really intentional about not overworking everybody, because people go, "Oh yeah, I could do that. I could take that on. I could take that on." Wait, pause. If we take this on, what has to fall off the plate in order to avoid this burnout?
Security operations is not free. It's not something you just do on top of your regular roadmap, right?
And it doesn't come up in your free time, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I had a few minutes today, so I'll go check out.
Decided to create a whole security plan. Why not?
Yeah.
By the way, I put the registration link again. It's at the bottom. Don't hit the X mark. Hit the button that says register for next week's tabletop exercises. Please come and join us. I see a bunch of you are online. Why not join us for just that? All right. Whoops. Here. Actually, I think I made it just go away just a second ago. That was not smart by me. Hold on. This is what I wanted to call to action. Let me put it back up there. Oh no, it is still on the stage. Okay, cool. So please go ahead and register for that. All right. I had a good question here from Murad Sit. Show on stage. This is appropriate. Do you see any generational differences, and I believe you do, in how younger versus veteran cybersecurity professionals experience and handle burnout? There is, I'm sure, an eagerness for the young people to want to work hard and prove themselves. They're also usually the older people have families. The younger people, if they're right out of college, do not. I mean, there's that divide right there. And then there's also the people who are considerably older that they're very tenured and they don't want to knock themselves out. Like, how do you treat all of those groups differently or the same? How do you handle that?
For me, I think it's having clear expectations from the beginning. Doesn't matter your age or what you look like. It matters what the role is, and are you agreeing to do the things that are in the job description, right? And I'm, as a manager, I'm going to promise to give you the things that are in the job description and not other extra stuff. And so I think having clear expectations of what is and is not the role to begin with is really important. I think, stereotypically, maybe you see a lot of young folks in incident response or pen testing, for example. and maybe there's more tenured or more seasoned people in engineering, maybe because they're trying to get out of the fray of SecOps and the 24-hour lifestyle type of thing. But I think too, your team structure, your organization, how your team is organized really has an impact on that, on the interaction in your team and how projects and work get assigned. So I think that's something you have to really be intentional about before the plate
set
of
up
spaghetti is too messy.
expectations.
Yeah.
What about you, Terry? How do you handle it?
I really don't know if it's generational per se. I think it just comes down to the fact that the best lessons we learn leave the deepest scars. And I think back to a time where we had a horrible incident, and it was frankly one of the first bad security incidents this company had had. I was speaking to leadership, and leadership said, okay, you need to give us, your best guess today of what's going on, what's the impact, et cetera. And I tried to explain to them that is not going to go well for any of us. At best, I'm going to come up with an ugly answer, and it's very likely to change tomorrow. And they said, no, we really want to hear. It's very important. And I pushed back hard, and I said, look, I very much want you to trust me. I want you to trust that I will find the right answer in the course of doing discovery here. But if I give you an answer and it changes tomorrow, I'm going to ruin that trust. And they assured me, no, we're all adults here. We can take it. So I gave them my best guess. We did some more discovery. I came back the next day and I said, turns out what I said yesterday was wrong. We went a little deeper and we found more information, and it's going to lead to a bigger incident and some customer communication. And you would have thought I kicked a baby, because they just, oh my goodness, how is this possible? Can we trust you, Terry? Do you know how to do this job? And, I knew going in, but I didn't trust myself enough to say, absolutely not. I am not going to do that. But you know what? Next time I
won't
have
happen
that
again, will it?
scar, and I am not going to do that again.
All right. I've got another question. I have a game. I want everybody, there's a lot of people in here right now, and I want you to all to stick around for a meetup afterwards, because there's a bunch of you I'm sure I have not met face to face, and I would like you to stick around. So you're going to stick around to the end of the hour when we go to our face to face meetup. Stick around for that. And you want to play the game after this question. This one is from Justin Murhoff. This is the one that's being sold by a lot of vendors, and I'm interested to know how it's actually happening. How or can AI agent-based solutions help us from burnout? And by the way, I'll just say AI in general here. I know he's saying agent, and we don't know how well any of them are working these days, or maybe some of you do. I don't know. I would love to hear from the chat room if anyone had really great success with agent active AI. But I'll just say from our side, we see little one-off things that help us, do a little brainstorming, create something a little bit faster, save us a few hours here and there, but nothing that is sort of consistent and programmatic. Interested to know what you've seen, Terry and Jonathan, and what you've actually done.
Yeah, I think I was a bit of a Luddite and pretty resistant to using AI when LLMs first hit the general market, but I got over myself and realized that it comes back to addressing two of the core challenges I see in cybersecurity. One, signal to noise ratio, which is a quality problem, and AI can definitely help looking at a large set of data and winnow it down to what's the most important. And then the second is, where do I spend my very limited human attention? I have a small staff. I need to pick very carefully where they should spend their human attention, intelligence, intuition, etc., which is a capability problem. AI can really help in both of those cases. You can automate low-level tasks. If I hire staff security engineers and I make them do analysts work, is that a good use of their time? Are they feeling fulfilled? So I think those two problems both exacerbate each other, but they can also feed into each other when you effectively deploy AI. It could be, using AI to get better ingestion rules into your scene. It can be on the right side of that. It can be triaging low-level alerts and only putting the significant stuff in front of humans. So I do think there's a real role for it. I think we all are learning in real time what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, I don't think AI explicitly and by itself helps reduce burnout, but I think how we leverage it might. the nuance there really is there's not a tool that we're gonna like. We've talked about like the security red button. That one day all we have to do is come to work and mash the red button and cool, I'm out of here. I'll see you. I'm going to go sit on the beach.
That
right?
doesn't currently exist.
I'm not aware of it. So if you have a sponsor, David, that has the security red button to
It'd
make
be
all
very
the security
popular.
problems
Well, there
go
is
away,
there's a lot of sale of the
That's-
silver bullet. Yes,
that's
there's
fair.
A lot of
That's
attempts
fair.
at that.
But I think the key here is how are we using AI? Terry made a great point about getting AI to do the mundane, silly things that nobody enjoys doing. Tuning rules. Who says I love tuning a good sim rule? Like, no, I don't think people really say that. So how can AI help us do that? They can help us do that at scale. Or they're talking like they're personified, but AI can help do that. They can help write scripts better or faster. And that alleviates the person from using their brain cycles to do something that a bot can do and use human brain power for things that only humans can do, which is be creative and use logic and think practically.
All right,
I
I'm
love
loving
that
this
take.
discussion, but we have another game right now.
Let's do it.
Let's go on stage. Here we go.
It's time to play a brand new game.
All right, we have 5 questions here. Will the real hack stand up? It's going to be pretty obvious to you how this game is played. We got 3 multiple choice. What we have is 3 situations. Only one is true. Tell me which one it is. Hackers hit a hospital's smart vending machine and rerouted $12K in patient refunds. Hackers use an internet-connected fish tank at a casino to steal credit card data. Or C, a university's smart lights were hacked to clone student ID badges and access labs. Which one is true?
Wait, and A is the 12K of refunds. Is that like hospital bill refunds or refunds from the vending machine because they got gypped because their snack didn't come out?
It was 12K in patient refunds, not with the snack itself.
Interesting.
They just use this. That is what is believed here, but it could be true. It could be false. All 3 of these could be.
I'm going with C.
See,
And when this is the real hack, right? The
real
actual
hack. Which one's the real hack?
B.
B. And the correct answer is it is B.
Oh,
yes, it was.
nice.
I remember
internet.
that one happening.
I know this one. This one had a casino, and it was actually the thermometer in the fish tank that did it. All right. Now, next one. All right. So 1 for Jonathan, 0 for Terry. All right. A nursery nightlight sent 1.1 million bedtime audio clips to an unsecured analytics server. Children's smartwatch exposed 500,000 GPS logs due to a flawed mobile app with no login. By the way, I can tell you something. We had one of these baby monitors years ago, and these things had no security on it. And one day I literally turned it on and I was looking at somebody else's baby. It's like, that ain't
Wow.
good.
Scary.
Last one, internet-connected teddy bears leak 820,000 user accounts and 2.2 million voice messages from an open database. Which one's correct?
C.
C? What do you say, Jonathan?
I think B.
B? And the correct answer is it is C.
Oh,
Terry wins.
Well
All
done.
right, tied score. Let's go to question number 3. Password manager bug exposed autofill data for 40,000 users who used browser extensions on public Wi-Fi. A single exposed HR portal leaked salary data and login credentials for 90,000 employees at a logistics firm. Or world record, over 16 billion login records from major tech platforms leaked in a massive breach. Which one's true?
I'm going to ask the audience on this one. There's a string of C's, so I'm going to go with C. I missed that news day. 16 billion login
I
records?
believe
That's a
in
lot
most of these,
logins.
we reported on them on cybersecurity headlines. Although some of these actually, I think like the internet connected fish tank was before we even did headlines. That was prior to that.
I'll go with A.
Yeah. Correct answer
That one
is
sounds realistic. A.
C. The audience was correct.
Nice.
Thanks,
The
audience.
was correct. All right. Okay, 2 for Jonathan, 1 for Terry. We're going to question number 4. Just last 2. National Library's catalog system was ransomed and 600 gigabytes of manuscripts were posted online by attackers. A regional archive was locked down by ransomware with 1 million demand to restore 300 years of scanned documents. A digital lending app leaked 250,000 patron records and fine payment history via a misconfigured backend. Which one's true?
I think A.
What do you think, Terry? We get answers from the
I'll go
audience.
with B.
B. You're going B. I don't even remember what the correct answer here was. And the correct answer is it is A.
Oh,
Oh my
nice.
God. Jonathan's up 3-1.
Woo.
Will he go 4-1? Let's see. Next one. Last one. A national tax portal leaked 12 million income records after a CAPTCHA bypass flaw went unfixed for months. The government site exposed 50 million citizens' data due to a misconfigured API, and a voter registration lookup exposed 18 million names and addresses through an unprotected search cache. Which one's true?
B.
B?
C.
C? All right. Well, first of all, Jonathan's automatically winning here because he's 3-1.
Obviously.
You can't catch up, Terry. But let's
Haha.
see if you can close the gap. The correct answer is it is.
Yes.
Terry
Oh,
closes
nice.
the gap, but Jonathan wins. Interested to know from our audience, did anyone, can we drop this, Josh? Did anyone go 3 for 3 on this? Anyone go 3 for 3? Yes? No? 4 for 5.
Or 5 for
3
5,
for 3.
right?
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, 5 for 5. That's what I meant to say. There were 5 questions.
I was 3
Josh,
for
please
5.
drop
Yeah.
the game, please. You're presenting. There we go. Thank you very much. All right, we have how much time we have left? We have 14 minutes left, and then we're going to do our meetup. That means all of you who are I'm going to show this big on the screen. Go ahead. Remember, if you've not clicked, you can only click the upper right hand or X if you've already registered. If you've not, you must register right there. But please register. And then you get to see the smiling faces of all three of us as well. All right, let's go back to, we have a few more questions and just a little bit of time left. Here we go. Okay. I don't know if this is the answer, but I like the idea of it. Lisa Ackerman asks, should we have a button or something an employee can check to show they can't be, quote, on today, something like an air traffic controller? We kind of have that, like through Slack, like, away from desk, busy, working hard. People can sort of block their time. I mean, I think that kind of works. I don't know how many people use it. But, most companies are your organizations in the past been connected via Slack? Yes?
Yes.
No? Yeah.
Yeah.
So did people actually use the sort of, status buttons in Slack?
I see it get used a lot. I see it
Yeah.
get abused a lot as well.
Okay.
And so again, I think as a leader, your job is to set the tone of respect the status. If you're in do not disturb, don't send 1,000 Slack messages trying to figure out what they're doing.
Okay.
No, don't do that. If they've got the little palm tree because they're out on vacation, set a scheduled message for the day they return. Like that's cool.
I think that's the right message to send, but I also think it is, and I say this to my employees, it is incumbent on you to manage your intake. If you are not available, you need to not be available on your end, and that means on your phone and things like that. So we live in a culture. Sometimes some of us work at companies that are global, and you can't necessarily expect that people are going to be awake at the same hours as you. And especially if you're on vacation in a different time zone, work hours may be different. So yes, as much as we want to create a culture in which you shouldn't bug people that have the palm tree op, I think I make sure to tell my employees, maybe leave us an emergency channel to reach you, such as, maybe one of us knows your phone number and can reach you that way, but you should not enable notifications on Slack while you're gone. You should take advantage of the out of office messages so that your phone doesn't get pinged. Manage your inflow of work because that's incumbent on you.
Here's the other out of office hack is delete all the messages while your out of office was on. And when you come back, if it's important, they'll call you back. I promise.
I have a friend who does that too. When he comes back, he literally just deletes everything. If it was really important, they'd follow up. They would.
That's right.
They'll email me.
I don't necessarily recommend that, by the way.
No, but I have a friend who definitely did exactly that. But here's the other thing is sometimes you will have a staff and that gets assignments not just from you, but from many other people. And you don't necessarily have a window into what's on their plate because things are being assigned to them from others as well. And it's happened to my wife as well. And I go, you need to let your manager know this. I can't stress this enough. Like she was feeling overwhelmed, but she wants to, do good by everybody. But she was getting overwhelmed. She was, getting burnt out. This is, first of all, if I'm a manager, I want to know this is going on because I want to put the squeeze on this. I'm like, no, you don't do this to my staff. You're overwhelming them. This kind of a thing. Like, so how do you handle something like that? First, I'm assuming communicate. If someone is overwhelming you with assignments I don't know about, you need to tell me. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one, you have to give your employees permission to say no when appropriate, right?
And some people just have a hard time saying no, period.
They do. And what I tell them is, you can make me the bad guy. You can blame it on Jonathan. Say Jonathan told me to tell you that no, if you need that, then go talk to him.
Yeah.
I can help prioritize, right? Maybe it is important and we'll reprioritize, but we don't have to do 5 things at once. We need to do one thing well.
Right. Or say, I would love to do that, but I can't take any on any assignment until it goes through Jonathan, kind of a thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that workflow management piece, whether you're ticket based in like a ServiceNow type of a platform or a Jira cards or whatever the workflow is, or Slack channels now are really great at being able to manage inflow of work. And that's the key, being able to track that. I think otherwise you get Slack, you're working off of Slack messages and emails, and that's a really quick path to
and again, I think transparency goes a long way here, and the transactional nature of it, right? I have 3 things on my plate right now. I can take that on at the cost of moving one of those off.
Yeah.
I can't make that decision because some of those assignments are helping other teams. I have to go to my manager and have a discussion about that. Or maybe you can talk to my manager and you can help reprioritize. And I think there's also a level in which you have to make sure that you're not setting a new normal, right? The more work you take on, I often tell some of my motivated, and going back to an earlier question, probably younger people on my team, you're doing the work of 3 people. When you leave, do you think they're going to let me hire 3 people to replace you? They are not. So please don't set the expectation that our team can take on more work. If you feel underutilized, let's talk about that. If you feel like you've got more time and you want to do more work, great. A corporation is hungry and will always take the work that you have available. But to be tactical about it, I think some of us don't use stand-ups very well, right? Stand-ups are an amazing tool in engineering to talk about these sort of things on a daily basis. It's not an opportunity to brag. It's not a status list or anything like that. It's an opportunity to say, I have capacity for 3 things and I have 4 things on my plate. What should I do?
All right. I got a couple more questions. I want to get to 2 more questions and a last word from you. And we only have like 7 minutes left. So let's do this super quick. From Murad said, I like this one. Have you seen workplace mentorships or job rotation help with burnout? Any success stories to share? Just quickly, Jonathan, what do you got?
Yes, absolutely. Especially on the early career folks on your team, if they came from a service desk or they're on your security ops desk, something like that, talk to them about what their passion is and where they want to take their career. And there's so much to be done in cybersecurity. There's lots of ways to do it. Have that conversation and then set a timer, 12, 18 months, whatever the appropriate time frame is for you. And then work toward that time frame to shift them into a new role, get them some training, send them to conferences, et cetera.
There are very natural ways for us to rotate out on cyber. I want software engineers to join my team and learn how we think about AppSec. I want infrastructure engineers to join our team and think about how we treat cloud security. And I want the inverse as well. I want my AppSec engineers to not become too distant from what it feels like to build software. I want them to rotate back into those teams and get that experience, but more importantly, get that empathy of how those teams work, what pressures they're feeling.
Very, very good point. Okay, here's one from Jeff Reich. This one, I have a lot of opinions on this one personally. But Jeff Reich asks, does mandatory fun help address burnout? You've seen this where, all right, everybody, we're all going out to go bowling, or we're all doing this, or we're all doing that. And people are like, I just want to go home and see my family. And I'm like, oh, shit, I have to hang out with these people. I just want to go home. Like, when does this work? When does it screw things up? You know,
team building. Go ahead, Terry.
As someone who's sober, I am so tired of being invited to happy hours.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want that mandatory.
The amount of alcohol focused stuff is intense. In fact, we've had a lot of requests to do CISO series like wine drinking or liquor drinking, and I'm just like, it's not our brand. Just isn't.
Right.
Yeah.
So I do think it works though when you warn people in advance that We are going to do a 2-day on-site, and we're going
Which
to go
we are
from-
going to be doing, CISO series. If anyone's going to WhoSecCon, that's where we'll be, the whole team. We're doing a 2-day offsite. We're all getting site, and we're going to go bowling, just so you know, because 2 of the team members are bowlers.
See, that's a perfect example, right? You tell people in advance, we're going to do this. You give people a chance to get over their own little discomfort about it. And you have a few people who are interested and passionate about it, because passion is infectious. I've done that with an offsite where we had a couple of big Magic the Gathering nerds, and they taught the rest of us, whether we liked it or not, how this works. And they brought the tools and made us enjoy it. And it was fun for everyone, although we didn't think it would be.
Yeah.
All right.
And real quick, I think team building is a real thing. But if you need to build your team up, you need to do it during normal business hours or a planned travel, like you're talking about. To say, hey, we just put in our 8, 10, 12-hour, whatever workday, and now we're going to go hang out at the bar and drown our sorrows. Like that doesn't work anymore. Not at all.
All right, I accidentally put this as a question, but I just like this. This came actually from Lisa Ackerman. Bad idea when a team member comes to you to try to talk about burnout. Tell them you don't believe in that and to suck it up. I think that is a great.
Please file a hurt feelings report. And
hurt feelings report. I like that. That's a good one. All right, we only have a few minutes left. What didn't come up, Jonathan, that we should have brought up in our discussion? We brought up a lot of good stuff.
Great question. This has been an awesome discussion. I think the key here is, and we said it a little bit, but not exactly. Self-care is a real thing, and we are all human. We all have different levels of burnout. So what's burnout for me is not going to be the same burnout for David, is not going to be the same burnout for Terry. And just because you're doing fine doesn't mean the person next to you is okay. And it's okay to not be okay. And if that's the case, then please get help. Please get help.
I think that is something
That's
that's
a good one.
Under talked about, right?
Terry?
I think the more we expose the fact that we are all humans, and many of us probably go to therapy, or some people are religious and go to services on the weekend, and they feel some sense of community and they buoy their spirits. I think it's important to talk about those things in a non-denominational way, a non-evangelizing way, but saying out loud, I do this and it helps me. And then I'll say something that's a little spicy. You need to be prepared to walk away. We all, I think, have learned a very tough lesson with the market in cybersecurity at the moment. You need to know what your runway is. And this is tougher for younger people, but you need to know how much savings you have, what your runway is to be able to last out of work. And it adds a whole degree of psychological safety, where if you run into a really uncomfortable position, you can say, you know what? I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave this role. I'm going to take some time off. And it's incredibly helpful.
All right, I got just a couple last things to mention. Everyone, stick around. We're going to do our meetup in just 2 minutes. At 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we do cybersecurity headlines we can review. We've got Steve Zalewski, the co-host of Events in Depth. He's going to be on. He is always awesome on the show. Absolutely awesome. We love having him on. Stick around for the meetup. Breakup rooms. Literally, just stay where you are. You're all going to get kind of dumped into breakout rooms. You're allowed to move around, so feel free to move around. And if you're in a room that you want to be somewhere else, or you just want to, don't think it's insulting to go somewhere else. Just pick up and move over. And I want to chat with you. And if you want to sponsor CISO Series Friday, or Super Cyber Friday, Super Cyber Friday, just email us at info@cisoseries.com. We are actually going to be booked through almost the end of September. I think we have the very last September available for sponsorship, but we got lots of great ones coming. Please tell your friends about it. Please do. Why don't you do that? Again, hide from stage. There we go. All right. Thank you very much, Terry O'Daniel, and to Jonathan Waldrop. Let me just mention that Jonathan is the CISO at large. Terry is the CISO at larger. So if you would like larger, go to Terry. Terry, I have met both of you. Terry is a taller man, so I would say he's larger.
Hey, I win. All right.
There you go. All right. That is it. Let's wrap this sucker out. Thanks to our producers, Josh, Andrew, and Rich as well, and Chris as well. Please, Josh, take us out and dump us into the chat room. I want to see all of you there. Go to the chat room.